Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. Your go-to place for salt, sand, anything else you need to get you through this winter. The telephone number is 631-756-1125. They have the best prices anywhere in the New York City tri-state area and beyond. The website is omnitruevalue.com. Not too bad a day today. We still are in this fast flow, and there's a bit of a warm front that's approaching from the southwest, and that's the cloud cover that you see across Pennsylvania, back down into the Ohio Valley. There's some precipitation with that, and there's warmer air that's behind it, and that's going to be coming in for Thursday. So we're going to see a little bit of temperature volatility going forward as we check out the radar shot here as of 1:15 p.m. Eastern time. You're seeing some light precip breaking out through Ohio and down into West Virginia. A little bit on the heavier side back in western Indiana into western Kentucky. That's all pushing east. And again, this is the leading edge of some warmer air that's going to come in for Thursday, and then it's going to get kicked out Thursday night when a follow-up cold front moves on through. And once again, when you look at the overall U.S. radar, you'll notice that with the exception of that precip area in the Ohio Valley that's moving east, the rest of the country is pretty quiet. Only right along the northern tier, you're seeing a little bit of light snow up in northern Michigan, at least aloft anyway, also in the western lakes. And you've got some patches of light precip going across the northern tier all the way back into the Pacific Northwest. As far as precipitation is concerned overall for the next 7 days, WPC is going a little bit more aggressive here, and I think this is because of the front that we'll probably be dealing with on Monday, and not the one that's coming through, not the warm front today or the cold front that comes through tomorrow night. So we're looking at roughly anywhere from a half an inch down to northern Maryland and southern New Jersey, to some patches of an inch and a quarter, inch and a half in parts of upstate New York. Now, some of this east of Lake Ontario, for example, in northern New York, is in the form of some lake effect snow. We're also seeing half inch plus amounts to inch and a half plus amounts in parts of Kentucky and in northern Tennessee, extending down into the Gulf states, and of course continuing to look rather busy on up into the Pacific Northwest. Looking at the surface map at late this morning, we actually have a little weak cold front that's to our north and west. That's hardly noticeable, but you'll notice the way the surface has been analyzed. There are a lot of weak systems here. This has been really the story for the last week or so, and we've got this warm front that's set up across Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, into Kentucky. That's moving on up to the northeast. There's another warm front being analyzed back over into from Minnesota down to Chicago. And the air behind that warm front is warm as temperatures shoot up into the 50s and even the 60s. And that some of that warm air, as we said, will be moving eastward. So let's look at the upper air pattern going forward. We are going to have that warm front go by tonight with some showers. Tomorrow we'll break out into some sunshine and a west wind with temperatures in the 50s, some places getting up close to 60, especially southern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, down into northern Virginia. And then a cold front passes. At the moment, the way the jet stream is set up, we do have a connection here to some cold air in Canada. But the southern part of the jet stream is rather weak. We just got little weak short waves that are just kind of sort of moving along here, and they're really not going to be able to produce very much. Now, as we go into the weekend, the eastern trough is going to lift out, and it's going to be replaced by another trough that's going to be moving into the east early next week. That's going to push a cold front through. But we're gradually seeing a transition here in the upper air that is driving the trough more to the west. So, for example, if you look at this for late next week, the air is actually going to be coming from the west-southwest, from North Texas on up into the northeast, and any cold air is just going to be pretty much laying back in the Rockies and in the west and in Canada. And while some of that occasionally will be bleeding southward from time to time, there is no setup here, particularly if we go all the way out into the long range. There's no blocky pattern at all across the United States. It's lower pressures across the North Atlantic, a relatively fast flow, and weather systems that are moving along from west to east. Now, let's look here real quick at what this means at the surface, so we can get an idea of what you can expect over the next 5 days. I think most of the time the weather should be okay with no real serious issues. We have a little warm front coming through tonight with some showers. You also see up in parts of Vermont and New Hampshire some snow showers in there. And we'll break out into some sunshine tomorrow. Then the cold front passes tomorrow evening. It turns windy and colder into Friday. So highs tomorrow, 50s to near 60. Highs Friday will be back into the 40s. Another weak front will pass through late Saturday, and that brings in chilly air, but it's, the air ahead of it is just as cold as the air behind it, so there's not going to be any big change here. I think we're looking at high temperatures over the weekend, mostly in the 40s, and then and it should be dry, by the way, and then early next week, low pressure heads from the northern plains to the Great Lakes. Along about Monday, maybe as early as Sunday night, you see a little bit of coastal rain develop there in a southerly flow, and then the front approaches with some showers late in the day, Monday into Monday night, and that moves offshore. We get another shot of chilly air behind that. Then here comes the next low for later next week that goes to our west and heads up into Ohio and on up into western New York and on up into northern New England. So we're in an upper air pattern that is basically not favorable for people who like winter weather, or at least sustained winter weather. I think that's going to be the case for a while, at least for the next 10 days. Weather in 5 brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware, 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. 631-756-1125 for the best prices in town. OmniTrueValue.com is the website. Okay, so we'll be updating, speaking of the website, meteorologistjoecioffi.com. We're going to be updating that during this afternoon and evening. And of course, we'll be posts up on the subscription platform on Patreon. I'm still slowly recovering from my emergency appendectomy that I had on Sunday. Still having some issues, particularly at night, where I tend to still spike up a bit of a temperature, and it makes me rather sluggish. But I'm getting back on my feet, and I know a number of you have sent me some wishes. Thank you very much for the wishes, the good wishes. And if I don't respond to your personal message right away, just give me a little bit of time. I'm slowly playing catch up, and I'm trying to get in there where my energy level is high enough where I can get something accomplished. And sometimes it's not quite there, and all I want to do is just lay down and sleep and rest. All right, have a great rest of your afternoon, and we'll see you later.